What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Now, y'all have known that the Warlocks are absolutely wild this season with that new Song of Flame super, as well as that Speaker's Helm, combining them for some crazy survivability with a bunch of other things, especially this Prismatic subclass and those exotic class items. So we're going to give you guys a build utilizing two crazy spirits on that class item, in my opinion, to absolutely spam our grenade and melee, freezing everything, causing ignitions literally everywhere, making this build super good for basically any type of content. This GM right here, blowing through it, no problem at all. So we will cover everything for y'all. First, with the Spirit of the Osmiomancy is our first perk right here. Your grenades recharge quicker on hits. Then they also, with those cold snaps, have travel farther for the Seekers. So that is super nice for the combination of throwing either just these grenades out consistently, letting them hit freeze, because you refund a bunch of that energy when you actually do get the direct hits. On top of that cold snap that we got with Osmiomancy, we got Spirit of the Claw, so we're getting an additional melee charge. So for us, we are going to use our Incinerator Snap, definitely the best for spreading around that Scorch, causing the ignitions like I said. Plus, with our Fragments aspects, we'll be able to freeze Scorch even more while having our abilities do more damage because of those buffs that we have. So starting us out right here for our abilities aspects and Fragments, we are going to be using the Song of Flame. Like I said, this thing is disgusting. We become a Radiant, Scorch, ignitions, everything. So we got barrier champions we can deal with on our weapons, even though that is already being dealt with our pulse rifle, but also ignitions and Scorch, like I said, getting that nice freeze as well as that Scorch ignition everywhere. So we are burning the world while freezing it at the same time. As for our abilities right here, for me, I like Phoenix Dive. You really could go with Healing Rift if you would want just a time thing. For me, 55 seconds versus that minute 20. With our Burst Glide, like I said earlier, our Incinerator Snap with our Cold Snap Grenade, so we can get both of those class item perks to proc very easily, getting that refund on the Cold Snap almost instantly when we hit an enemy. Actually, on that direct hit, we're gonna freeze everything, then we're gonna get our snaps to spawn, and because of the mods we have on with these Fragments, we're gonna get those back very consistently and very fast. As for our two aspects that we got Helion right here, allowing us to scorch even more targets, creating more of that unstoppable ignitions, while we also have Bleak Watcher on to slow targets and freeze them, pairing with the Cold Snap very well as that Helion, like I said, being able to freeze and melt everything all at once. So first up for our Fragments, we got Facet of Command right here. So all that freezing that we're going to be doing reloads our weapons that we have equipped, also increases stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness. Very good for this build because we are literally freezing everything, like I said, creating a bunch more stasis shards for us as well. Second on the list, also very important, is the Facet of Ruin. Increases the size and damage of the burst when we shatter a stasis crystal or those frozen targets. On top of that, all of the ignitions that we have are also going to have a larger AoE, so the combination, like I said, of freeze and that explosions with the ignitions is absolutely disgusting, hence why we are using this Facet of Ruin. Third on the list to help us with that protection inside of that endgame, giving us more damage resistance, we have the Facet of Protection right here, so it helps when we are surrounded by all of those combatants as well. Fourth on the list, Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with light darkness damage, or those super final blows generate elemental pickups for us. So we're going to be getting those fire sprites, stasis shards all over the place with this build because of what we have on our abilities aspects as well as the weapons that we will be using. So absolutely disgusting in that aspect as well, because the generation of our abilities with fire sprites is grenade, stasis shards are melee, so we're able to spam those even more often than usual. Next on the list right here, Facet of Courage. So like I I said earlier in the video, our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities are going to do increased damage based on the darkness debuffs on those targets. So with that slow and freeze that we have going on everywhere, our nice Incinerator Snap double with that is going to have some pretty good damage buff on it because of this facet of courage right here. Now for me, these are the mods that I have on for armor and the strike that I went through, as well as the stats I built out for resilience and recovery. Definitely my number 1 and 2 helps us to get back our Phoenix dive as well as to keep us alive. Now for this, we're having that double melee, which I like for having 100 strength because we're getting back that discipline and our grenade so fast with the double snap, as well as with the freeze on the Osmiomancy part of our class item. As for the mods, we got on special ammo finder to keep up our weapon, like I said, stasis siphon because we're synergizing that hard with this build, and the freeze as well as the ignitions. Double impact induction, causing that damage with powered melee gives us our grenade, as well as vice versa. Momentum transfer, causing damage with our grenade, reduces our melee, so giving us that internal feedback loop for that nice spam right there. For me, I'm using Lucent Blade to help us to keep our sword up damage wise. Double arc resistant, like I said, for that GM I was going into. Absolution right here with orbs of restoration and recuperation to get our orbs of power and replenish our health, as well as get our abilities back faster with both of these. And last but not least, powerful attraction. When we use our class ability, we're going to get all those orbs that we're using right here on our boots, as well as Reaper Bomber to help create more orbs of power, as well as get back that grenade even faster when we do use our class ability. Weapons that we have on this bad boy, we're using Scepter to pair with the stasis side of this build, slowing, freezing everything because of its intrinsic traits, plus what we have one special little mod on top of that with our artifact. Then we're going to be using our BXR Battler, one because Incandescent will help us spread Scorch, absolutely crazy, like I said, synergy of freeze and Scorch on this build, plus Demolitionist. All the defeats that we get with this pulse rifle is going to give us back our grenades, so allowing us to spam them, like I said, very consistently between our cold snap and then that double little incinerator snap. Last but not least, for our weapons, we're using that slammer right here with Pugilist Bait and Switch. Pugilist, all those defeats are going to give us our melee back, basically the same thing as Demolish giving us our grenade, but Slammer's going to give us our melee and Bait and Switch to do that nice juicy damage. Plus this will be used for our overload champion, so we got barrier in our BXR, overload right here, and then that freeze and unstoppable will come from our grenades, as well as those Bleak Watcher turrets. Now moving on to our Hunter's Journal, like I said, anti-barrier pulse as well as overload sword for what we are using. This is our creeping chill that I was talking about. Those stasis weapon final blows against slowed or frozen targets release a burst that slows. Scepter kind of does this intrinsically, but it does expand that burst of the slow, as well as our sword will also be able to use this perk, so just very good at the ad clear potential and ad management side. On top of that, we're using blade stamina, of course, for that sword to give us some ammo back, as well as Argent Blade, so when we do have that armor charge, we're going to get a little bit of bonus damage on our sword. Counter energy for that endgame and stunning champions, as well as we are becoming radiant very easily with all the orbs that we are creating on this build, as well as shield crush, going to help us to get back our abilities even faster, like I said, depending on the type of class buff that we have for us: woven mail, frost armor, amplified radiant, etc. So this build absolutely crazy. Like I said, the ability to freeze, slow targets with our weapons, our grenade, as well as that Bleak Watcher, plus we got Helion, double incinerator snaps, as well as an incendiary pulse rifle with the ability to get back our grenade and melee with our weapons, as well as everything else that we have in our mods and our fragments and aspects. So it is pretty disgusting that you can take this into literally anything. Endgame, you are absolutely blowing people out of the water. You could see right here that I had double the defeats that both of my teammates did in the GM I was going through, creating almost 40 orbs with ease. And then also on top of that, just if you go through lower degree content, you're gonna absolutely destroy people, absolutely just blowing through normal strikes in like 5 minutes. So be ready to just change everything, run this build with ease in any type of content for sure. But again, appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. Means a lot to me, means a lot to the channel, helps out a bunch for that, as well as hit that notification subscribe button if you would like, with that bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Help you guys out too. So again, appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.